the Lazy Mom's lasagna recipe. So I have my stainless steel skillet, the 10-inch, and I'm just gonna put a little bit of oil in here. It doesn't really need very much. And I'm gonna give this a little swirl around here. And then I'm just gonna add my ground beef. So you can do power cooking beef where you could do more than 1 pound of ground beef at a time. And then what I like to do when I do that is I will add onions, and even depending on if I know what I'm gonna be using that recipe for, I will add some black beans to it if I know that I'm gonna use it for some sort of a Mexican recipe. And then that way it gives it a little bit of a heartier beef, and then it's versatile. But it also expands the amount of meat that you have. So it doesn't really expand your ground beef, but there's a whole lot more volume. And so you use less ground beef. So you can spread it out over more recipes. So I'm going to use my mix and chop spatula. It's one of my favorite, but when you're cooking in stainless steel, you want to go low and slow, and you just want to let it be. If you try to turn things too fast in here, this one is not really sticking. But depending on what you're cooking, if you try to flip it, like if you're doing chicken, try to flip it too soon, and then it'll stick to your pan, and then you have a mess, but it's super easy to clean. But you just want to let it cook. I tell people when they're cooking with stainless steel, just turn it on low and slow and walk away. Go do all the other things that you've got going on in your kitchen or in your house or whatever, and just let it be. When it's ready to flip, it will tell you. So I'm gonna finish cooking this up, and then calls for cheese, no matter, some call for ricotta, this calls for mozzarella and Parmesan. So my little spiel I tell to all of my customers, all of my guests at all of my parties is grate your own cheese. So Pampered Chef has 3 different graters. We have our regular coarse grater, do standing up or flat, all come with their own food holder also. I don't often use it. You can put your cheese in here. You can grate from here. So we have our coarse grater. We also have our double-sided grater that you can use. I like to use this one sometimes. It goes together, but then it also comes apart. So one side is your large shard. So I tend to like to use this a lot for Parmesan. I like those big pieces of Parmesan, but I also use it for mozzarella. Or if you want that coarse grate, then you could definitely use this side. And then we also do have our microplane grater that you could also use. So, but the thing about our graters is just don't think cheese. They can be used for so many other things. Grating for hash brown potatoes, for your zucchini. This one is great for zucchini, sweet potatoes, all kinds of things. So not just for cheese. So we're gonna use the coarse grater for this one. I like to put it into a container so that it catches right in here, and super easy to grate, and really takes no time at all, and gets you that freshly grated cheese that is easier to melt, tastes better, just all in all, better for you than those bags of pre-shredded cheese that have filler in them. So now we're ready to put all of our Lazy Mom's lasagna together. We've cooked our ground beef, we've grated our cheese. Now we're gonna put it all together. So I'm gonna cook this, and I'm gonna cook it on top of the stove. I'm gonna bake it in the oven, and I'm using the 4.5 quart stainless steel skillet. So not only is it top of the stove safe, but it is also oven safe. So I am truly in love with these pieces. So I preheated a little bit. I added a tablespoon of oil vinegar dispenser, squeeze here, and it's going to add your oil to the top, and there's even measurement markings right there. So I'm going to get this oil over the bottom of our pan, and so now I'm going to add in a 24-ounce bag of cheese ravioli. And we're just gonna give this a little bit of a toss just to coat it. So the nice thing about this recipe too is if you wanted to split it into two, which I probably will be doing, super easy to do. Once you put everything together, you can take half of it out and put it into freezer bags. Just make sure it's cool. Make sure you double bag it when you get it in here. So we're just going to toss this. So now we're just going to take our ground beef. Now, if you've done power cooking beef and you have some in the freezer that you're using, it's not freshly cooked, then you'll want to make sure that it's thawed before you put it in here, of course. Okay, so we're just gonna toss this together. All right, toss this. Now we're gonna add a jar of marinara, whatever kind that you want. I should have showed this, but I already did it. If you have a hard time with jars, our little easy opener, or a 5-in-1 opener, will sit here on the side of your jar, and if you lift up, then it will release that lid for easy opening. So I'm just gonna pour this marinara over top, turn my temperature down just a little bit, and then I'm gonna toss this together. So then the last thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to add in my cheeses, and I'm going to add some Italian seasoning. So that's it. I'm going to let it cook on top of the stove for just a little bit before I put it into the oven. So I'm going to use the Italian seasoning. It calls for 2 tablespoons. So cute little hint is that 1 tablespoon is up to the top line, not the top edge, but the top inside line of the seasoning lid. So you don't even have to get out anything to measure it with. Get that Italian seasoning in there. So we're just gonna cook this on medium. I've got it on a little bit lower than medium. We're gonna cook this for about 10 minutes. And then we're gonna put it in to the oven that's on 350, and we're going to bake it for just about 10 minutes till all of our cheese is melted. So I'm going to put this on here, and then I'm going to add all of that freshly grated Parmesan and mozzarella cheese. So if you wanted, you could actually add some additional ingredients. A lot of times with lasagna, I'll add in some spinach. Super easy to add in to get some extra vegetables. Okay, so this started simmering. It's been simmering for about 10 minutes. So we're just going to pop this into the oven, no lid required, and let it finish melting that cheese in the oven for about 10 minutes. I have some garlic bread, and I'm going to put that into the air fryer. So if you've not seen our new air fryer, mine is warm. I've been using it. I made some air fried chickpeas, so we'll have those for a snack for the next couple days. So I just turned the button to air fry. We have lots of different settings, including air fry, convection bake. I love the top pizza oven. One of my favorite ways to make a frozen pizza, and it's super easy and tastes delicious. So I'm just gonna go ahead and open this up, pull my rack out, and I'm going to just put these 4 pieces of garlic bread right in here. And so this air fryer, it does have a preheat, but because it's already hot, I'm gonna bypass that by just hitting the button again. So we'll have some fresh garlic bread in about 6 minutes. Okay, so we're ready to take our lasagna out of the oven. Perfect lasagna. You could sprinkle additional Parmesan cheese on top if you would like. Whatever you choose to do with your lasagna. And then our garlic bread has finished in the air fryer. So it is all done at the same time. So if you have any questions about this recipe, please let me know.